Hey guys, welcome back to Herbs and Ease. My name is Kristen, and today I'm kind of sick because today is a scheduled recording day and I don't have that many days when I can sit down and record YouTube videos. I figured that I would just show up anyway, and instead of doing my regularly scheduled content, I would share with you a little bit about what I am going to do to take care of myself today so that I can get over this cold and get back to my daily life. Before we get into the actual remedies though, first I'm going to talk about what I could have done to prevent this. So really all that's going on is that I have a little bit of a head cold, a little bit of congestion, but also like a sore, scratchy throat, especially in the back of my nasal cavities, in the back of my throat. There's a little bit of stuffiness going on in my ears and in my head. It's sort of like that this whole upper respiratory tract area just feels a little bit stuffy and a little bit inflamed. So it's really nothing serious. It's kind of just a minor cold, but I can think back for the last probably 5 or 6 weeks and I've actually been under a lot of stress, from a lot of mental stress and physical stress, just getting a lot of things going in the apothecary, a really big phase of work last month, and then that led into my summer break, which was actually incredibly stressful, a lot of family issues going on and some big emotional blows. And so it's just one of those phases of life where it's just like one thing after another, and as soon as you think, okay, I'm finally calming down, just another thing kind of comes to like bulldoze you in. And so it just really depleted me, really depleted my nervous system. I did have a little bit of an autoimmune flare there for a bit. So it's just been a lot going on, a lot of constant stress for the last 5 or 6 weeks. And if I had been thinking clearly, and of course hindsight is 2020, so we can't really know this, but there is some stuff that I could have done to prevent the depletion of my nervous system and the depletion of my immune system to avoid getting sick. And so the first thing that I would have done is taken Astragalus. So Astragalus root is an adaptogenic immune boosting herb that's actually considered a really mild tonic and a very safe adaptogen that we can take on a regular basis to boost the immune system. Now, it's not that common that adaptogens can or should be used for really long term, but Astragalus is really unique in that it is pretty safe for long-term tonic use. Most adaptogens aren't actually considered tonics. You only want to take them for maybe a couple of months at a time rather than constantly. But Astragalus is one of those herbs that make a great long-term tonic. So Astragalus helps to strengthen the body's defense mechanisms, and it makes it less susceptible to infections like colds and flus. And as an adaptogen, if you remember from our most recent episode on herbal actions, adaptogens are going to affect the body where the nervous system and the endocrine system meet to build resilience in the body. Now, all of this information that I'm going over today, because I'm just not feeling that well, we're not going to go too into depth into anything, but if there's any remedy or any herb that I'm covering in today's episode that you want to know more about, go ahead and just leave me a little comment so I know what it is that you're interested in and what I should go in depth into when I start to feel better and can like really sit down and create good content for you guys. So that's definitely the first thing that I could have done. I could have taken Astragalus, and I do have it in tincture form in the apothecary. So Astragalus is a great herb to make a tincture out of because most herbalists actually use the dried form of the root to make even commercial products. You can get that tincture from me, or you can get it from any herbalist or any health food store, or you can even make the tincture yourself using the instructions in my tincture video. The next thing that I could have done to prevent getting sick like this is I could have used Echinacea. I cover Echinacea much more in depth in my video on herbs that I think everyone should know and have in their medicine cabinet. But if you remember, it's really a smaller window that you can use Echinacea to boost the immune system and prevent an infection or prevent getting the cooties. Based on my experience and how I'm feeling, that window was actually probably yesterday. And today I think I'm really in the full swing of having the minor cold and flu. But like I said, I was experiencing so much emotional stress and so much mental stress that I really mistook the symptoms that I was experiencing yesterday for like more emotional symptoms rather than physical symptoms. Again, it's been a pretty wild couple of weeks for me, and I just made a little mistake. So I think that the window for using Echinacea for me has passed. Remember, you want to take it before you're actually sick or when you just are beginning to feel the symptoms start to arise before it becomes like a full-blown infection. Now, since I missed the window for prevention, instead I am tending to the cold. I am treating the actual cold, and here is what I'm doing. First of all, elderberry ginger tincture. I'm pretty sure that this is a viral infection. I'm pretty sure that this is just a very minor head cold. And so elderberry and ginger are both great antivirals. Again, I do discuss this in my video on the 5 herbs that I think everyone should have and that everyone should know. So if you want more information on these herbs, go check that out or leave me a comment and I'll do individual episodes on these herbs so that we can really get to know how these herbs work in our lives and in our bodies. So just as a recap though, elderberry is a really rich antiviral, antioxidant herb that can help combat colds and flu viruses, and it's well shown to actually shorten the duration of colds and flus. And of course, ginger possesses anti-inflammatory, immune-boosting, antiviral properties, and it can help in reducing cold symptoms and supporting the body's natural healing processes. So I'm going to take this every 1 to 2 hours for the next couple of days just to really boost my immune system and keep me feeling good. Now, the next thing I'm doing is an elderberry fire cider. So if you're not familiar with what fire cider is a remedy that is a vinegar extract that contains things like garlic and onions. It often has horseradish in it and cayenne pepper or other hot peppers, and it helps to boost the immune system, clear sinuses, it helps to alleviate congestion, and it is a really standard and staple remedy in the herbal community. Now, the term fire cider was coined by herbalist Rosemary Gladstar. Fire cider is just what we really call it in the West, and these immune boosting vinegar extracts are actually really ubiquitous throughout many different cultures all over the world. So if you and your family and your traditions, your community, whatever, call it something different, let me know, because I'm always interested in hearing what people call these different things. So anyways, fire cider is when you steep really like aromatic, immune boosting, antibacterial, antiviral herbs, and usually culinary herbs, like I mentioned, onion, garlic, horseradish, ginger, all of these things in vinegar, and then maybe add a little bit of honey, and you can like take it like a shot. You can use it like I'm doing, where I just add it to some hot water. I put a little bit of lemon in there. Now, what I'm drinking today is actually a little bit of an experiment. I was doing some formulation a couple of weeks ago. I would really love to add a couple of vinegars and fire ciders to the apothecary. We don't have any yet, but I thought I would play around with some recipes. So this is a variation of a Florida fire cider. It has oranges, elderberry. I honestly don't remember what I put in it. I have the ingredients written down in my apothecary, but it's probably like, there's definitely vinegar, elderberry, garlic, probably ginger, definitely oranges, probably onion, and maybe a little bit of a hot pepper, like a jalapeno or something, or whatever it is that I had access to. It's like a pretty good fire cider. I don't think this is going to be the final recipe of what I put in the apothecary, but it's a great place to start. Fire cider is a really easy remedy to make. I'm happy to go further into detail on this remedy. There's books about it. I'll link some of those in the description. Again, head cold, just not really thinking straight. So anyways, that's what I'm drinking. And what I did was add just a couple of slices of lemon. I added a little bit of fire cider and then filled it up with some warm water. And I'm just going to sip on this throughout the day, and it's going to help to relieve congestion. I would also sprinkle a little bit of cayenne pepper into this. I didn't have any in my cabinet though, because I don't really cook with cayenne pepper. I probably have some in the apothecary at the office, but not in my home apothecary, which is a pity for me because it would really help to clear some sinuses. So that is something that you can do if you are ever having some cold and flu symptoms. So beyond my elderberry fire cider drink that I'm drinking, I am also drinking the Mandala Cold Care blend that again, we have in the apothecary. And this is a really nice blend for when you have the cold or when you have the flu. It has herbs like yarrow and elderflower in it. It also has some hyssop, which is traditionally used for respiratory issues. It can help with sore throats. It has mint and has ginger, some rose hips, so there's a lot of vitamin C and immune support. It has a little bit of cinnamon just as a taste. And the stars of the show of this particular blend are yarrow and elderflower. Both these herbs have some really interesting benefits, but the two benefits that make it the star of the show are not just the anti-inflammatory properties, but it helps to push a fever. So if you have a slight fever, taking something like elderflower or something with yarrow or something that has a combination of the two in them, you are going to increase your fever, which is the body's natural response to fighting off an infection, so your body gets past the fever quicker. And so if I am going to have a fever, I want to get it out of the way so that I can recover quickly. And these are two herbs that I really like because they help to support the body's natural defense processes so that we just knock the fever, or we knock the cold and the flu or the virus or whatever it is that we have, we knock it out right away and start to actually recover. Now, the cool thing about this blend is that it's not going to give you a fever. You can take these herbs and not have a fever. It's only going to push the fever or increase the fever if you are actually going to have a fever. If your body doesn't need to go through the fever process to kill whatever has invaded the body, you're not just gonna get a fever out of nowhere. It's not gonna give you a fever. So it makes a really good tea blend to drink just in case the body also needs to engage some of its extra defense mechanisms, if that makes sense. I don't really know if I'm making any sense now, but again, I'm just showing up because I said I was going to do this YouTube thing, and so I'm doing it. So other than that, I'm going to rest for the rest of the day, see if I can actually edit this video or if it just like comes out a jumble of a mess. And I'll probably sip on some bone broth as well. And it's like not a special bone broth. I think I just have some organic chicken bone broth from Trader Joe's. I also really like, I think it's a Kettle and Fire brand that I enjoy as well. And what I like about these bone broths is that they have protein in them. It has like 20 grams of protein in this whole box. And I like that because, it can be hard to eat. And our appetite decreases when we are sick. And so I like to get as many nutrients and macronutrients and micronutrients into my body as possible. Now, you can make bone broth on your own. I don't have a good recipe that I use for my own life that I really enjoy, so I usually just do store-bought. But if you have a good recipe that you want to share with me, I will try it because I like bone broth and I kind of drink it a lot. I do really enjoy it. It kind of makes me feel good. And I'm sure there are a lot of reasons why that I'll be able to remember when I'm just not feeling so stuffy in my head. But yeah, if you have a recipe, share it in the comments. That's how we all learn. And you can add herbs to bone broth, like astragalus and reishi and immune boosting herbs. So it'd be cool to put together a nice recipe. But before we do that, we got to have a good bone broth base recipe. Share it in the comments. Let me know. I'd love to hear about it. And other than that, I might just drink this as is. Maybe I'll add a little bit of turmeric powder and garlic powder and ginger to it. We'll see how I feel. I might just want to sleep and rest. But that is what I'm going to do. All of those things to help me just get past this little head cold so that I can feel better and start doing some of the stuff that I plan to do with this time that I have. Yeah, I think that's all I got. Okay, cheers to your health. I love you. Bye.